Before we get started, I think everybody's in here. Councilmember Clark's going to offer prayer.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are so grateful for this chance to come together as friends and neighbors and to serve one another and to serve our community. And we're grateful for the really cool things that are happening in our sweet town of Eagle Mountain. And we're grateful for the people that make it amazing. We're grateful for our youth council and for our royalty. And we are grateful for our first responders. And we're grateful for the people who work hard to provide for their families to make Eagle Mountain better. And we ask that thy spirit be with us tonight, that we might be able to make good decisions together, to hear each other's point of view, and to be civil. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call this policy session to order at 7:05. And as we get started, we've asked our Miss Eagle Mountain 2026, Trias, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mr. Reeves, do we have any public information items?
We do. We have 4, Mayor. Our Youth City Council is having their summer splash event tomorrow, Wednesday, August 5th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at Quarry Ride Memorial Park. If you want a chance to dunk your favorite council member, you can sure come out and do that in our dunk tank. Truth and Taxation public hearing will be Thursday, August 6th at 6 p.m. here at City Hall in the Chambers. Farmers Market is every Saturday from 9 to 1 p.m. through October 10th at Quarry Ride Park. And then there's another event, Ties and Tiaras, this Saturday, August 15th at 7 p.m. at the Overland Barn.
If you guys have never seen Councilmember Wright dress up in I don't even know the old rockers, a wig that looks like Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, Jimi Hendrix.
I look good with hair, let me tell you that.
Come to the Youth Council. I was wondering why they were all here, to support Duncan Councilmember Wright, right? All right. Moving right along, we do have our entire Youth Council here, most of them, and they will get sworn in today. So how this is going to work, we're going to make a couple motions, then we have to vote. No telling where that's going to go. And then we'll call all of you forward. Do the mayor first, right, Lacey, or did you want to do them all together? Mayor first and then the rest of the council together. Okay, so that's the way we'll do this. And with that, I think Councilmember Whiting's got a motion.
It's my honor to move to approve KJ Call as the Youth Council Mayor until for a term until the next Youth Council election in 2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Whiting and a second by Councilmember Wood. We'll start the vote with Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
And Councilmember Hewish.
Yes.
Okay, the Youth Council.
And it's also my honor to move to approve the following individuals as Youth Council Committee members: Sophia Anderson, Eliza Bird, Elena Call, Cora Davis, Jordan Deinhardt, Hinkley Franco, Khalid Franco, Raina Howell, Carly Jackson, Lexi Jackson, Riker Jackson, Xander Jackson, Lily Messerly, Sarah Ortega, Abigail Pace, Darcy Washburn, and Lucy Washburn, and for a term until the next Youth Council election in 2027.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion again by Councilmember Whiting, a second by Councilmember Wood and Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
Councilmember Hewish.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Perfect. We'll bring the mayor up, and Lacey, we'll go over there, and we're going to come down, and so we can congratulate everybody at the end. So when they're done, all the youth council that was okay. Oh yeah, everybody come up then. That's why I was asking. So everybody at the same time. Are we going down right now? Yeah, and we're going to come. No, let's do the picture from up here. Yeah, let's stay. Okay. We'll stay up here and we'll do a picture after.
But then we'll shake their hands.
we're gonna have you guys just squeeze in a little bit right here. Our photographer for the city is gonna get right there. We're gonna get a nice little picture, so get close together. Hey, Lacey, do they need to sign the?
They have their oaths of office. They can sign them and take them home.
Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate your willingness to serve. Okay, we've got another cool recognition that we'll get another picture for here in just a second. But it's our honor to introduce our 2026 Miss Eagle Mountain. We'll have you guys come up and state your names, tell us a little something that you think we need to hear, and then do the same thing. We'll turn around up here and get a picture. Go ahead to the microphone up here.
Good evening. My name is Emmeline Smith, and I'm honored to serve this year as Miss Teen Eagle Mountain's first runner-up. Through my community service initiative, Lifesavers in Training, I plan to teach kids, teens, and adults basic first aid and emergency response skills so they can feel more prepared when in an emergency. I'm excited to represent Eagle Mountain this year through this community that has already given me so much. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Brighton Hawes, and I'm honored to serve as Eagle Mountain's teen. My CSI is called Generation for Wildlife, and it's about educating the youth on the importance of preservation and conservation of wildlife. I'm excited for this year, and I think it's going to be great. Thank you.
Mine's a little longer, so I'm going to warn you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tria Smith, and I'm so honored to be able to be crowned Miss Eagle Mountain for 2026. This was my 5th year competing for the title, so standing here today truly is such a dream come true, and I could not be more grateful for the opportunity that has fallen into my hands this year. This year, my community service initiative is Red, White, and Your Rights, which focuses on civic engagement among young voters. As many of you know, the voter turnout in Eagle Mountain is severely low. So my goal this year is to help young adults register to vote, know how candidates get on a ballot, and also know how to participate in the voting process. Local government impacts our everyday life, and I believe being informed in voting is one of the most meaningful ways that we can truly make a difference. We've already had so much fun and an incredible start to the year. We have been going to events, working alongside Dawn and Dave, and getting to meet so many amazing families, local businesses, and community members. Every event has reminded me why I love Eagle Mountain so much. Thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to serve this amazing city, and I look forward to working alongside of each of you this year and to represent Eagle Mountain with pride. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm going to have you guys turn around. We're going to do a little more this way because we always get the podium right in our way. So let's squeeze this way, turn around, and we'll get a picture, and then we'll go on. All right, that's kind of the fun part of the job. We get to do that kind of stuff, and this is another thing that we actually look forward to. We've got time set aside for the public to make general public comment. This time has been set aside for the public to express their ideas, concerns, and comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes each. I will now open the public comment period at 7:16. As a reminder, public comment is an opportunity for community members to address the city council, and each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. If you wish to speak during the public hearing portion, please complete a comment form located in the back. They're on the table back there, and return it to our city recorder on this side over here. Council members will listen but not engage in discussion during public comment. Disruptive behavior, personal attacks, or comments about individual city employees are not permitted. If you have issues or questions regarding staff or personnel, our administrative staff will meet you in the foyer to discuss that for further discussion. Lastly, public comment period is for items not associated with a scheduled public hearing. If your comments relate to a public hearing item, please wait until the item is called. For information, tonight's public hearing items are the programmed 2026 HUD CDBG Annual Action Plan. There's an ordinance of Eagle Mountain City, Utah, rezoning certain lands known as Scenic Mountain. And then 15B, an ordinance of Eagle Mountain City, amending the master plan known as the Master Transportation Plan, TMP, and Impact Fee Facilities Plan. So those are the public hearings. If there's anything else that you'd like to talk about, we have 3 minutes. Lacey.
Duncan Searcy?
I gotta go first? Dang it, I thought surely somebody else would want to go first before me. All right, I'm DJ, more commonly known as Duncan Searcy. I've missed you guys. It's been a little while since I've been to one of these, so I thought I'd come harass you. Now I'm going to be pretty nice. I want to talk a little bit about your proposed property tax increase, the reasons for doing it, and ask some questions, and then just inform you guys a little bit about what's going on in the life of the regular Eagle Mountaineer, okay? 220% is a lot. We will start there. Even if it's just $1 a day, for some of your citizens, that's 1 to 5% of their annual income, okay? So that's not a small chunk of change to some of us poor folk, okay? The other thing I want to mention is more of your neighbors than you realize are living paycheck to paycheck right now. And another good chunk, less hopefully, are living credit card payment to credit card payment. So every time you do anything to raise taxes, there's going to be effects, especially on our pensioners, right? They've earned what they have. And so if we're raising the property taxes on them, perhaps they moved here 15 years ago, and that was one of the calls to move out here to Eagle Mountain, is they saw the low property taxes, okay? I do not think it is the job of the citizens to shoulder the burden of bad decisions past and present council, city planning has made and force us to come up with those funds. We are growing rapidly. There should be a commensurate amount of tax increase there as well. Mayor Jared, when he was campaigning on the trail, he talked a lot about the different things that are coming, and we're going to have so much money we don't know what to do with. So maybe let's hold off on the property tax increase, wait for some of those investments to come, put the city hall on the back burner, some of these other things, while your citizens are really struggling financially. The other thing that I was going to say about all that is I think another reason the citizens are upset is the way it was framed. You guys are like, law enforcement, we love law enforcement, we need to increase that. But we had to find out in the comments that it was also for capital projects, and that wasn't defined anywhere, at least initially. And so it's kind of a bait and switch when you say we need to raise taxes so we have law enforcement, because who doesn't want a good amount of law enforcement? We want to be safe, right? So I felt like that was a little bit dishonest, and it rubbed people the wrong way there. So I think a little bit more transparency would do you well. I feel safe here. You know, I know they want more deputies. I genuinely don't feel threatened for my life, and if there's anybody here that has death threats, you know, that's me. So I think when we see so many patrol cars at a traffic stop, you know, 2, 3, 4, from the citizens' perspective, it doesn't look like we really need more
Your
law
time is up.
enforcement. If
Thank
that
you.
makes sense. All right, thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Was there anyone else here who did not have the opportunity to make public comment that would like to? Seeing no one, we will close the public comment period. period at 7:19 and bring it back to the council for comments to the public. And I'm going to switch sides. We're going to go with Rich first. Rich Wood.
Great to see so many people here, especially those here to support the Youth Council. We appreciate their willingness to get involved at an early age to understand how government works. I love the way that we changed it to make it available for so many people to participate on the council. So it was great having them all up here. I'm a little envious, Jesse. I hope it's awesome this year for you guys. Appreciate the comments, DJ. Always appreciate you coming in and speaking your mind. That's the point of public comments. I'm going to tell you, I don't think that you're totally wrong. I think that we could have done a better job in some of the ways that it was presented. I look forward to being able to talk about that on Thursday and maybe providing some clarity, because I agree. I think that it's not clear. So we're going to try to do a better job of getting that information so that it's clear. We may not agree, but the reality of it is we need to be crystal clear.
Councilman Whiting.
I'm so proud of the youth that are taking their time to be engaged and make a difference. And we saw that with our youth council. We see that with also with the pageants, and it's so awesome. There's a lot of energy with the youth council, and it's really I'm really honored to be the liaison from the city council to be a part of your group, and looking forward to the activity that's going to happen tomorrow. Even though I'm going to get wet, it's going to be cold, but really grateful. I mean, Eagle Mountain City has some of the most amazing youth, and I know it's a priority among the city council to create an environment here in which they can engage and learn, and there's a lot that we're dealing with to help keep them safe, help our roads improve, and so I won't go into the depth of all of what we need to continue to do to help this be the most amazing place ever for the youth. Also, DJ, thanks for your comments, and we appreciate you coming and sharing. And I will say, we could say in some ways, what you mentioned about the money coming in eventually, that is true. And Mayor Gray did make comments that, as data center money matures, it will come in. But I was also there many times when he said the next 4 years are probably going to be the toughest years. And he also said, I'm probably going to be a one-term mayor, even if he wants a second term, because of the challenging decisions we're going to have to make during these current 4 years. Because the data center money isn't here yet, and it's going to start maturing, and it's going to start coming here. But we, looking at the different things we got going on, we may have to make some unpopular decisions. And hopefully a lot of people show up on Thursday night. Hopefully we hear a lot of commentary from a lot of people, because we want to hear what your thoughts are and what you're experiencing and what, your various thoughts and feelings. Please come on Thursday night. We want a big crowd. We want a lot of comments, and we're here to listen. So hopefully people show up and participate.
Thanks, Mayor. Welcome. KJ, I just want to congratulate you, or should I say Mayor Call? Let me start there. That's quite an achievement. I'm really proud of you, and having had the opportunity to work with the Youth Council last year, I'm impressed with the recruiting that you've been about. So thank you to you and your advisors, your mother, and those other young men and young women that have been participating there. It's fun to see the Youth Council grow, and I will be there tomorrow if I can find my hair, okay? I mean, I gotta find my wig so that I can come and you guys can dunk me again. But I don't know if I'm gonna last as long as last year. You guys beat me up bad, but I enjoyed it. I really did. You really are the future of Eagle Mountain. I loved listening to Miss Eagle Mountain and Miss Teen Eagle Mountain as they talked about at least one of the CSIs. What do they call them?
Community
Okay. About the wildlife and nature. And for me, that's really cool that our youth are picking up that torch and moving forward with it. So anything that I can do or anything that we can do as a council to help you all be successful and prepare you for adulthood, I'm happy to do that. I just want to express gratitude for our staff and for the work that they do, for the incredible burdens that they carry. If you joined us in work session, you got just a small taste of what they deal with on a daily basis, and it's an inexhaustible list of things that they have to tackle every day. And I'm really grateful for their energy and for their effort that they put forth. I'm grateful for the fellow council members that I sit here with. We are called upon to make some pretty nasty decisions. I don't know how else to say it. They're difficult, they're heavy, and I think it can best be described as there's a loneliness to leadership. When we ask for the opportunity to serve and to lead, it comes with a duty, a responsibility, a burden, and there's some honor and a blessing associated with it. But all of those things are present in the decisions that we make. And there's an accountability that each of us must have, and I think we can do better, DJ. Our communication could be better. I'm probably the worst communicator of all, unless you sit down with me across the table, and then I'll communicate it to death, and you'll think I need a break. You'd be like, shut up, Brett, I'm ready to move on. But I just want to express my love and gratitude to those of you that have showed up today. I appreciate that, and I look forward to listening to what the citizens have to say on Thursday. Thank you.
I too am super excited to see you be our youth mayor. I've seen you for years as I've come to Cedar Valley High School and seen you grow into student council and all sorts of other things. And I love that you and your colleagues are willing to serve our community and the other kids in our community. It's about time that Eagle Mountain has a youth council that's not embarrassingly small, and I'm super excited for that. And I'm really grateful for the young ladies that represent us as our city royalty. There's some pretty incredible young ladies, and they do really neat things in our community, so I'm grateful for them as well. This last Friday was our 28th wedding anniversary. My husband and I have been married for 28 years, and the day after that was my husband's birthday, and we got to go to see Spider-Man. That was like a big deal. And it's like the 12th Spider-Man, I don't even know. But as I was watching the movie, there's this line in Spider-Man that is kind of quintessential Spider-Man, and it says, with great power comes great responsibility. And I think one of the greatest powers that any human could be given is to tax another human being. It's your property. You worked hard to bring it home. You use it to take care of your family, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. I want you to know that as we prepare to make this decision as a council, that we're thinking about you. We're thinking about your individual circumstances, and we're trying to do right by you and all of the residents of Eagle Mountain. And we take that responsibility really seriously. So thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing your viewpoints. And I look forward to hearing all the ideas and insights and concerns on Thursday so that we can make this decision together. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for being here today. To the Miss Eagle Mountain, it looks like they left. My daughter served as a Teen Eagle Mountain, Miss Eagle Mountain Teen in 2019, and she served 2 years because of the pandemic. They didn't have another one, so she got to go 2 years, and it just like was never-ending thing. But it was a real blessing for her and our family. Mayor Call, congratulations. That's awesome. Did you speak at our memorial service? Yes. That was an awesome speech that you gave. I just wanted to mention that to you again publicly. That was really impressive. And not a surprise that you're serving as our youth mayor, so congratulations. That's awesome. I know our youth council will be led well. DJ, thank you for being here. I think the more heads we have, the more comments, the more ideas, the better decision that we're going to make. It is, I'm not having any fun. I spent most of my weekend going back through every budget session that we already have sat through and copied every dollar that was presented, gave it a name, put it in a spreadsheet. I've been through it several times, and I just want you to know that I take this decision pretty seriously, and I know that my fellow council members do. It wasn't long ago that my wife and I, if I had a $10 expense, I would call her and say, hey, do we have that in our bank account? Can I go to lunch today? Or are we packing lunches? And we have 2 Title I schools in our city that are paycheck to paycheck. And for many people, they won't be asking for assistance. They'll probably just cut their savings or put it on the credit card. And so we have a serious decision to make on Thursday, and I am confident that we'll strike the right balance, both for the residents, for the city, and for the need. We just sat through a presentation with Ben, our city administrator. We have over 100 projects going on in the city, and these aren't just light fixing a curb or putting tar in a road. These are like major infrastructure projects that are going on, and they're not inexpensive. We're the 9th fastest growing city in America, in the United States. And when you start to dig down and look at all of the projects that are happening with 2/3 or 1/3 of the staff of other cities of our same size, it's pretty impressive. It's a miracle in my mind that this city is even like operating. I just applaud our staff. They do an amazing job. And prior to January of this year, I was totally oblivious to all the things that were happening. And now that I'm immersed in it, it's pretty impressive. So I'm confident we'll find the right balance. And I appreciate the emails. I've had several that have come through. I'm reading through them. I'm documenting them. And we're going to make the right decision, the best decision that we can. So thank you.
I'll say that was 100 capital or construction projects. There are almost 400 total projects with initiatives and others.
Right,
That's a lot, right? Heavy
Yeah.
lift. So, yeah, it's. I'll just add briefly. The youth council came in a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you say challenged me to the hot wing challenge or something like that, right? It's just fun being in the position that I get to meet with the youth as well every now and again, and some of the other organizations in the city, and spend some time. And man, we've got some really fun youth. And they ask some hard questions. Most of them I didn't know the answers to. I didn't even know who my superhero was or whatever it's called, because I don't watch Marvel or something. But anyway, there were some hard questions. But I said it wrong, because I don't know. But
Probably a cowboy, Mayor. It's probably a cowboy of some sort.
ask me
A
about
bull rider.
Yeah, breeds of horses or something. I could have got that right. But and the queens too. I've been able to take them on carriage rides throughout the year and different things. Just working with them was super fun. So good times, and we appreciate all those that come out and express their opinions and get to enjoy and participate in the process. It's an honor for us. So thanks for everyone who's here, and it's time to get to work. So the first item we went through in our work session is the consent agenda.
Would you entertain a motion, Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor, I move that the city council approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Clark and a second by Councilmember Wright, and we'll start the voting with Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
Councilmember Hewish.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Okay. Now our scheduled items. The first one is a public hearing. I will note that this item does need some action prior to our next meeting. So as a council in our work session, we have decided to call a special meeting on August 10th, Monday the 10th at 3:30. It'll be a virtual meeting. It's only this item as of right now, and we'll address this funding. But for tonight, we will have the public hearing so that we can move forward with some action items on Monday. With that, do you have a presentation? No presentation? Okay. Does the council have any questions specific to this item? I think, just for the public's sake, you want to just let us know what it is, that kind of an idea of what's going on, so that and then we'll open the public hearing. This is the CDBG funding that is allocated from the county, from HUD, and some of the ways that we could spend this money that qualify.
Yep. So good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council, and we really appreciate you guys putting us on a special meeting next week. So this meeting is just a formality to fulfill this second public hearing and to give folks a chance to chime in on any city projects that they might have comments on. So.
Perfect, thanks. And I'll read this. We say CDBG all the time, and I don't know if everybody knows what that means. It's a Community Development Block Grant Program through HUD. It provides federal funding for eligible community development activities. As a condition of receiving the CDBG funds, the city must annually adopt and submit annual action plan identifying the proposed use of the allocation to hold up to 2 public hearings, so that's this one, the second public hearing, and receive public input. The first public hearing was held on April 7th, and this one fulfills the second requirement, just so that we know what this is about, because I don't know if anyone's here to speak on that. So at this time, 7:36, we'll open the public hearing, and it sounds like there is someone.
Charlotte Ducos?
Turn the mic on, please.
Oh, yes.
There you go. Oh,
It was on. All right, Charlotte Ducos. I'm just here to talk about the Community Development Block Grant because I was having a conversation with principal over at Cedar Valley High School. We got some news this week that we are opening I'm going to give it the name that I got permission to talk about it. Eagle Mountain Community Center, focused on families at Cedar Valley. We are planning to and wanting to convert one of the sections of one of our portables into a community center. One of the things that we would like to do as a capital project is to put in showers. The goal over time is to have this available to the community, not just to school patrons, but to the community at extended hours, and to have shower facilities, pantry items. We would love to have adult ed, things like that in that space. I know the city has been looking for a space like that. On the Community Services Board, we've talked about that. So I was really excited to hear that that was something that he was planning on and working on at Cedar Valley. So as we consider these funds, would love to have that project considered for some of the capital needs in order to make that happen. And so I just wanted to put that on public record, and I think it would be a really great use of those funds. It would help both our low income and several other groups to help provide those services that they need. So just wanted to make that option available as far as the funding is concerned, and thank you for your time.
Mayor, would it be okay?
Finish the public hearing. So is there anyone else? Lacey? That was it? Okay. All right, thank you. Seeing no one, is there anyone else that came to speak on this item? Seeing no one, 7:37, we'll close the public hearing, and Councilmember Wood was first, and they'll come here.
I just wanted to ask the question, first of all, does that qualify where it's attached to a school? Because I think it's a great idea, by the way.
It could.
And then can we help them to get an application put together quickly so that that can be something to be considered?
It could possibly qualify. We'd want to get some additional information and, look at eligible activities, but I think it is a great opportunity to really serve a vulnerable portion of the community in Eagle Mountain City. So I think exploring that would be great, and we can do kind of a simplified application to just get some program information and then really drill down to see if it could work.
Thanks.
And it would qualify as a public facility.
Okay. One, I was wondering if Charlotte had an idea of what the target ask is dollar-wise. Do you know? Okay. And then this is more for the two of you. If there are construction, building, tradespeople within our community, especially some of the really big entities that are benefiting from being able to build here, and they wanted to donate time or do an in-kind donation of some sort, is there anything about that would jeopardize being able to use the other funding?
It's not likely that it would jeopardize anything as long as they're qualified contractors who would be doing the work. So that would be a great way to leverage funding if you had community members who wanted to support that. And again, we can have a larger discussion as we drill down on any discrete activities. So in the annual action plan, we have the buckets. We don't have the actual discrete activities that will be funded, but this one sounds like just a fantastic opportunity.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a quick question, and so I think you kind of answered what my question was. What I'm seeing is in public facilities and infrastructure improvements, there's about $181,000 that is kind of in that bucket, $200,000 in affordable housing, and then under the public services, $36,900, and Is that the way that's broken down, just those three? That's what I'm seeing in there. Does that sound right to you?
There's administration and planning that
Right.
also, but it's not an actual project.
And so as we consider this on Monday, as this comes back to us for an actionable vote of some sort, is that really what you're asking, is that we kind of put it into these three buckets and be okay with that? Recognizing that there's still going to be some tightening up in each of those buckets.
Exactly.
And how does that happen? When will that happen, and how will we be informed? Will we be a party to that? How does that happen?
As discrete activities come up with the spending, I think those agreements would come before council for approval.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted, just to understand the
Yes.
process of that. So that's perfect, thank you.
And if we need, just to kind of answer, I think, part of that question, if there needs to be some flexibility, there's a small amount of flexibility to move things between buckets right now, but if we need to move larger amounts between buckets, we can do an amendment to the plan. So, that's a possibility. Takes a little bit of time, but it's definitely doable.
Okay, perfect. I was just going to note for the record, when Melissa asked the question, that Charlotte Duco shook her head no. So that was an answer that wasn't audible, but, and then as far as the financing, and then also just ask you ladies if you'd get with Charlotte either after or pull into the hall and get some contact information for either the principal or whoever it is that we need to get with to get further information or an application. So if you guys will handle that. Is there any other comments or questions on this one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
There's
guys.
Council.
no action tonight on that one, so we'll come back and meet on Monday. And we will go to the next item. It's 16A, an ordinance of Eagle Mountain City, rezoning certain lands known as Scenic Mountain. There is Robert Hobbs, did I lose?
I'm gonna
Okay.
take this one, so.
We've done this before traditionally. It should be pretty simple, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Let me drag this over just to kind of give the public a little, oh, there we go. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, this has been through Planning Commission and Council a little bit, so I think you're well aware of this. And for the public's sake, the planning's going through the process of trying to update the zoning map. There's a number of areas in our city that have old zones that don't exist on our books anymore. So we're trying to go through and identify the areas that have those old zones, and then find those areas and then update them to a current zone that matches with our current city code. The part of the reason why is if the public calls and they've got these old zones, they want like, hey, how far can I build this shed off my property line? That, it's a little harder for us to give them information if they've got an old zone. They have to go dig back in the old books and old versions of the code and find out what the setbacks were and so forth. So this helps. This proposal helps staff to be able to administer land use application, help the public a little better, just makes things, land use and zoning flow a little better in the city. So this is the property we're looking at, 200 and change parcels over in the Scenic Mountain area. And so aerial photo there, and you can see this is our general plan map. General plan just sets forth our land use designations for our cities, whether it's residential, commercial, so forth. So you can see that you can see the designation for that area. And so I guess I need to be clear. This is not only a rezone, but it's not only a zone map amendment, but it's also an amendment of our general plan, because we need to update this map. It looks like we're showing some commercial and that isn't accurate. So what right now, current zoning's calling out multifamily, calling out some old residential zones from an old agreement with the city. Those zones don't exist anymore. So again, bringing this to current current zones, you can see our multifamily 1 and 2 zones are noted there in a kind of faint yellow and a little bit brighter yellow. Green is open space. There's a church down in the blue that's being addressed. So planning, so this has been to the Planning Commission. They've recommended approval. Staff recommends approval of this. Again, this is just a cleanup, just to make sure that we are able to utilize the current codes in our current version of our city code.
Okay. Are there any questions? I'll start with a question, actually, because you mentioned that there was some commercial, but there isn't now. Is that right?
Yeah, as I'm looking,
The part that wasn't developed, this stuff went away. Is it been purchased already?
that part I don't
Isn't
believe.
that triangle all UDOT land? It's on the north end, the scenic mountain. There's a big chunk of it is, right? That's north of the townhouses.
This should be, one more time with your question, I'm sorry.
The north end of that triangle, if you go to back to your proposed zoning, a portion of that green area, isn't most of that in the UDOT right away?
It appears to be, yeah.
There's 3 parcels.
So Jared's question was, is that commercial area?
It appears to be on the general plan map, yep.
So that was commercial and now is UDOT, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yep,
So was
exactly.
that your same question?
No, my question is, I mean, recognizing that you have the zoning designation spelled out pretty clearly in the rezone map, the question I have is, what does the general plan amendment need to say? What's it being changed from? What's it being changed to?
The general plan amendment is, pull this back up.
And you know, if you need to work through that, Brandon, for a minute, that's fine. I'm just thinking in terms of a motion, and maybe we could do the public hearing and then come back to that. But I'm not certain what it is that we're considering changing it from and what it needs to be changed to in the general plan. The zone is it's very clear, but for me, it's a little bit ambiguous about the general plan amendment that we're considering.
Aren't the 2 properties, like the single-family homes and the townhomes, 2 different zones?
Yes, they are.
So that motion's got to be 2 different categories.
There are 2 different categories, and I agree with you. I don't feel like we really are spelling that out very.
So I think when we do a motion, and I'm just saying what it could be, is that the MF part or the townhomes would fall under whatever it is concurrent with, and then the single family would fall under R1 or R2, whichever one it falls under. It could be the same motion, just like that. Townhomes this, single family that. Yeah, then whatever, parks and open space, things. Is that gonna, Marcus, is that okay if they?
You're gonna have 4 categories in there. So basically, you've got the civic, parks and open space, neighborhood residential 2, neighborhood residential 1.
And you've got the roads that are all ag.
As long as it's clear in the motion, like what is what, and that's fine. It's a little bit convoluted, but I think we can work with it.
We can kind of, as long as we are clear that what's public's public, what's multifamily, I think they can sort it out after that. Is that?
Brett, the person who asked the question has to make the motion.
Well, we got to, so public hearing here.
I'm looking right now. I'm trying to figure it out.
Was there any other questions before I go to public hearing? Let's do that while Brett's studying and see if we can get it right. So it is 7:50 and we will open the public hearing. And no one is here to speak on this item. Is there anyone here that didn't get a chance to fill anything out that would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing at 7:50. And then we'll come back and sing a lullaby while we wait for the... I think Craig.
Brett, I've got one.
Okay, go for it.
So I move that the city council approve agenda item 16A according to the chart of affected properties.
Yes, exactly. That's.
Second.
Because the chart outlines the current zone, the proposed zone, the current land use, and the proposed land use. It has for each one of those.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Whiting and a second by Councilmember Wood, and we'll have a chance to talk about this motion. Is that motion also cover the needed change for the future land use map?
Yeah, it does, yes.
Right, I know that everything's in the chart. I'm saying, does one motion cover the item
The chart
sufficiently?
shows everything.
Oh, you're saying you think we need to do them separately?
Because we gotta change the future land use map and change the zone. I'm asking if one motion is both.
But that chart.
No, he's saying that the zoning has to be a separate.
A separate one.
From the.
Well, I'm gonna let.
When we did the EMP rezones, we did two separate actions.
So Marcus, are you good with one motion or do you want two?
So we noticed it as one agenda item, right? So
Can I make a recommendation?
typically that would have one motion attached to it. Yeah, I mean, the concern I am having is that if there's going to be a general plan amendment, that should generally come as a separate agenda item and with a separate motion.
It's in the description of the item.
The description does say proposed general plan, future land use map
typ-
amendments
typically
and
we-
rezoning.
Yeah. And typically we
It's-
do that as separate items. I mean, given that it's one item, I think it's probably okay to just move forward with one motion approving the agenda item. In the future, it would be better to do two separate agenda items.
Okay, that's why I was asking the question. So, is there any?
Yeah, I want to make a suggestion, and I know there's a motion on the table, Mayor, but I think that a substitute, I would like to ask you to consider a substitute motion. And the motion that I would put forward would be to approve the general plan amendment according to the chart of affected properties for this item, and to approve the zoning in accordance with the proposed rezoning map for each of the properties.
That's so moved. I'm good with that.
I'll amend my second.
You good? Stephanie? It's recorded. You can. Okay. Oh, boy. All right. Any questions on where we're at? Motion's good?
Councilmember Whiting made the motion. I think that's important. He made the
Yep.
motion, and Councilmember.
Okay, so yes, so it's for the record, Councilmember Whiting made the amended motion and Councilmember Wood continued the second. And we will start the vote with Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
Councilmember Hewish.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes?
Councilmember Wright.
Are you sure you want me to weigh in? Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Say again? Next item is a ordinance of Eagle Mountain City, Utah, amending the master plan known as the Transportation Master Plan, the TMP, and the Impact Fee Facilities Plan. I know David Salazar's done a lot of work on this, and we'll turn it to you.
Thanks, Mayor, council members. We're glad to be here. So the purpose of today's item is that we are bringing the Transportation Master Plan back in the IFP, back for review. We're going to try and do these on a 1.5 to 2 year basis. The last year was particularly busy. That's why we're coming back with some pretty big changes. We didn't want to wait another 1.5 to 2 years to capture. So some of the summary will be updating some of the current transportation priorities and plans, updated roadway names, classifications, revised roadway cross sections. We did update the modeling as well as the current costs and contributions throughout, so we can get a more accurate transportation impact fee. Excuse me. So I sent you guys an updated list, kind of a summary of the updates we made, the major updates. That's in your packet. We're going to go through each one of them. And then I did throw in a couple slides throughout, so you can also go through some topics as well and focus on some key projects. So the first main update we did was update the priority project list. In the past project list, we had the old Mid-Valley Road in there as number 1. We were very successful, and now that's a UDOT facility, so we no longer need that as our number one priority because we have succeeded. Now, we are still pushing that as much as we can as a city to get that moved up in the RTP, as well as MAG funding. So that's something we are actively working on. MAG is currently going through the RTP prioritization process now. And I was on the working group. Mayor and I both were. And so we are heavily giving input on how they are prioritizing projects because we are trying to let them know, hey, growth is a huge component for us. It is huge and it's been overlooked in western Utah County. And so I feel like they're finally hearing us now and they're understanding the growth that we have and the needs and the demands that we have in our area. So that's a huge one. The other major change to this was we added the Silver Lake projects. We pulled up the list, and those are the two, that's line item number 4. Those are connections to Saratoga Springs, and those have been on our transportation master plan since before I was here. But with the new high school coming online in fall of 28, we are pulling those up on the priority list. And so I want to talk a little bit about those connections before we go on to the next item. So we did a study with Hales Engineering, and they came back with the intersection at Golden Eagle and Silver Lake Parkway warranting a traffic signal for the movements that occurred in that intersection. Their recommendations including removing the roundabout and adding a traffic signal there, moving all the crossing to the controlled intersection. Currently right now the north crossing is at Golden Meadow, further to the north, and the recommendation would be to pull everything down to the intersection with crossing guards. And then also, they're looking at the east leg of the intersection to realign it to a more conventional intersection. Currently, that leg is narrow and skewed, and that can create visibility issues when aligning with intersections, as well as limitations in sight visibility. So here's 2 photos I have of that intersection. This is looking eastward. The photo on the left is current conditions, and the one on the right is AI generated what those improvements would look like. So the concerns that were brought up in last week from Councilmember Wood was we'd be pushing traffic closer to pedestrians. And it's a very valid concern, and that's why I wanted to bring this up to you guys so you could have a chance to understand the intentions of this project. So the dimension of the edge of pavement to trail would be maintained. We would be realigning that trail in that right-of-way. The parking lot would stay as is, and we would take out some of the area in between the edge of trail and the parking lot. And also, there'd be with the wider pavement, we'd now go to 36-foot wide width, so we'd have room for a shoulder as well, and potential on-street parking, which would actually push traffic further away from the trail. This 90-degree alignment provides better visibility for turning movements and pedestrians. So the other intersection was a little further north at Silver Lake, Campbell, and Woodhaven. While this intersection was not a full warrant based on the turning movements, staff and the consultant did identify concerns from pedestrian crossings with the recommendations to improve this intersection. This would also have a traffic signal, and then Silver Lake Parkway would be realigned to T and terminate into Woodhaven. Woodhaven would then continue north and south, and then the southern portion would be Woodhaven going forward. Campbell's Circle, as Brett as well, Councilmember Wright is well aware of, Campbell's Circle would be limited access with a crash gate for fire requirements, and Campbell's Circle would have to access Silver Lake Parkway from the west a few hundred feet with their other access. And again, this would help with the pedestrian crossings in the area. Excuse me. Update number 2 is Lake Mountain Corridor. So this is a screenshot from our future classification map. It's nice seeing the 2 big blue lines on there. So we now have 2 major UDOT facilities coming to our region. Cedar Valley Highway, which peels off of SR 73 in the north and south direction, and that east and west is Lake Mountain Corridor, which is currently called Mid-Valley Road. Now this is going to be a UDOT facility. UDOT currently has a Mid-Valley Road in Tooele County, and so we needed a new name. And they originally assigned us the name Crown Ridge Crest, I think it was, and nobody liked that name, so council gave us some good direction on what to name it. Right? They gave us some good direction, and MAG and UDOT are both on board. That name is on the RTP right now, and it's been identified, so that is the new name of that road. We are working on getting new signage for Mid-Valley and working with Frontier Middle School, I think the seminary building, and then the fire station. I forget what UAF station is over there, getting those folks readdressed. Once we get the new signs ordered, we will get them readdressed accordingly. Update number 3 was just catching typos throughout the project. We found some inconsistencies, some old references. This was an old document that had been kind of updated throughout the years. Our next major update, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to have an all-new document. We've seen other cities, TMPs, and they're a lot shorter and a lot cleaner. So we're going to go to something a little bit different going forward, kind of start from scratch. So
Don't threaten us with a good time, David.
You don't want to read 200 pages? You don't? Come on. It's a good document, but I told Vince it reads like a book report, so it's tough to follow sometimes. So we want something that, you know, our residents can follow well, development, it's easy to follow, to look for the information that you need. Update number 4, we updated the freeway and expressway criteria in the functional classification. Before, so that first column, we had the spacing of the traffic movement at 4 miles, and it was high speed only. With the addition of Lake Mountain Corridor, we needed to lower that in the development regions because we know Lake Mountain Corridor is going to go through city center and then some residential up in the mountains as well. But the majority of that is going to be, you know, we're prioritizing as a high-speed connector, but we still have to cover the areas that are not. And again, our goal for this is going to be a limited access, you know, high-functioning road, but still within some development, we will have some connections. Update number 5 is the roadway cross sections. Our old cross sections had, you know, those beautiful raised landscape medians throughout on the major collector, minor arterial, and the major arterial. The new sections have removed those landscaped medians to improve U-turn flexibility, to remove the hazards we've seen from accidents from maintenance vehicles working in the travel lanes. It also reduces blind spots at intersections and provides additional capacity for turning lanes. And I spoke with our arborist. Even though we're going to be removing some of these landscapes, we are going to be working on kind of beautifying our park strips and adding more greenage because we want to maintain that Eagle Mountain feel and not turn this into a concrete jungle. So that's the key priority we're working on, especially along Pony Express and Ranches. Those are 2 areas we don't want to lose that green. I'm from the Midwest, so I like green, so the sage is okay, but I like the green personally. So here's an image of those 3 sections. The top one didn't change. We just redid it with great help from our communications department. So we have added a center turning lane in the major collector, the minor arterial, and the major arterial. We've also added a new roadway classification, the principal arterial. And this is to help with some of the confusion because before we had 2 major arterials. One was a 5-lane, one was a 7-lane. And looking at the map, it can be confusing to understand which is what right-of-way, what's the lane configuration. So we took away the old parkway cross-section, which was a 4-lane road with large landscape medians and no shoulders. This will be a 7-lane arterial, and it has 2 right-of-ways, 176 for new developments, and then the 206 is for the existing preserved right-of-way along Pony Express and Ranches Parkway. And it makes it, again, just easier. When we go to the overall map, you'll see the line work is just easier to follow. You know, it works better for planning and development. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Ranches Parkway, as this was a very important project. It's one of our busiest corridors in the whole city. As we know, so Ranches Parkway is 4 lanes with a very large 37-foot median in the middle. We've had major traffic congestion along the way. Speeding is an issue. Enforcement is limited because of the limited U-turn movements throughout the corridor. There's no protected pedestrian crossings from Pony Express to SR 73, until you hit Stonebridge, just before the Maverick. We've also had multiple crashes in this corridor. And so with this project, we're looking to improve in 2 phases. So phase 1, we're looking to remove the landscape medians and add 1 additional travel lane in each direction and a center turn lane. With this project, we're also looking to add 2 traffic signals, kind of about third points throughout the corridor, one at Half Mile and the other at Braxton, and then limit the other access on the parkway. And those accesses will either be ride-in, ride-outs, or 3-quarter. And for our residents, a 3-quarter is a ride-in, ride-out, or left-in, because left-outs are your longest turning movements and often are the most hazardous and time-consuming. where a left in, you face traffic and you often have momentum to make your turn in. The other accesses can reach those traffic signals and still make their protected left out. Again, we're going to beautify the park strips and add more trees and shrubs throughout. And with this, we're going to improve the intersection at Pony Express and Ranches. As you know, that intersection is probably one of our worst intersections in the city. We're looking to add dual left turn lanes heading east to north, and then we're going to add dual right lanes south to west. And then every leg will have a dedicated right turn lane as we overall widen the intersection. So the other challenge of Pony Express and Ranches is that when you need to slow down and make a turn, there's no turn lane. So you now are impeding all your traffic who's already congested anyway. So we will be having dedicated turn pockets for all those movements. And this summer, we are doing construction on the north end of that project at 73 and Ranches. We're widening that to 6 lanes, so we'll have 2 left turn lanes, 2 throughs, and 2 rights. And then we're adding a signal at Campus Drive, a high T, so vehicles can exit that safely. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to come 5 to 15 years later. We're not quite sure on that timing yet, but that will come when the new sewer trunk line is needed. From this graphic here, you can see it's under the shoulder. I don't have a laser pointer, but it's under the far right shoulder. And so for that phase 2, we'll kick out the curb about 10 feet to provide a shoulder for emergency vehicles being pulled over, maintenance, or other emergencies, and then we'll install that new sewer trunk line out there. And then there's parts of the trail that run up against the curb, so we'll adjust those back so the trail is not right up on the curb and there's still park strip in between so the pedestrians have a buffer there. And this also improves safety because adding a shoulder is critical for vehicles who are not paying attention to the road, and this way they don't get ejected off the road and drive into the park strip. So that's another safety feature we're adding. So phase 1, I took to MAG earlier this year for the 2016 TIP selection, and we competed with other cities for funding, and we made it through the concept and the idea cycle, and we were shortlisted 4th out of the cities for funding. This funding selection is scheduled to be awarded next Thursday at the MPO board meeting. It's already gone through TAC and been recommended. And so if that's the case, this project will be a funded project through MAG. 2930 funds will be available. And so the current funds are $11.8 million, with future funds inflated is at 13.8. And that is the largest project that the city will be awarded by MAG to date. So some of the concerns we had from the residents who live in the ranches was, hey, can we, not go to the meetings? Can we maybe put our efforts and look at working on Airport Road? Is that an option? Will that be able to kind of save the ranches as it is or prolong it as long as we can? And so we looked at that as we're updating our modeling. This is the latest model of the existing level of service. And we have the Airport Road in there with 2 lanes. Currently, Ranches Parkway is at 29,100, which is just shy of failing at 31,400. Before it was failing at 33,300. So Airport did save us a little bit, but if we look at the future, it does fail pretty quickly, actually. And we do know at the intersections it's already failing. So this is a no-build situation. We leave Airport Road at 2 lanes, Ranches at 4, just to show how bad it could be. The worst along Ranches is at 39,900, which is, again, severely failing at that point. And then the ask from the residents was, if we widen Airport Road first to 5 lanes, what does that do for the ranches? And we just do the intersection improvements. Well, if you look at the image here, it actually makes it fail more because we've now essentially relieved that bottleneck that is the southern connection and allowed more traffic to flow onto ranches. So if we look at what we're projecting for a build-out in 2035, Ranches Parkway at a 7-lane would have additional capacity from the induced demand, which you get, which is normal, but that puts us at about 45,900. And that still leaves us with about, with some capacity left over. A 7-lane maxes out at 50,500. So still having capacity until we start seeing the Cedar Valley Airport come on, which will help divert some of this traffic as we approach the 2040-ish, 2045 timeline. So Spring Run As we've been seeing development kind of getting interest and traction in this area, we spent a lot of time with the folks out there and working back and forth. Their engineers sent through a few different transportation impact studies, and we have come up with the best layout that we could for the region to service as a third connection kind of from the city in case there's ever issues on 73. And so this would hopefully get us additional connections to the Wildflower development there. It's something we're actually working with Saratoga Springs as this area develops. It's going to go from west to east, as we know, just as the development is occurring and as they're mining out there. But that's something we're actively looking at, and we want to stay ahead of it so we can kind of not design things after the fact. We're trying to get ahead of things in the city and build it for the future. So with these maps and new layouts, we went and ran new modeling just so we could understand the better the traffic flow. This helps us understand the prioritization of projects at the staff level and what's needed in the future at 2035, in the near future, or at build out or at 2050. And then from that helps us update the project list as well. Then we updated the the functional classification map. This is that line work I was talking about that helps us kind of easier to determine which roadway is what. And there is an addendum I do need to add into the motion if it gets to that point. There was a line that was dropped off at East 1000 North. I've got a better image of that I will show later. If we can include that, there was a line that didn't connect all the way, so I will show that in a little bit. We then went up and updated the project cost. As we went through the project, we found that our consultant had a lot of money kind of delineated to MAG and some developers. And while that's great, and while we would love to have more money from them, like we can't always count on these things because we know MAG cycling is every 2 years and there's no guarantee of funds. And so as a city, we have to plan for these things in kind of a worst case scenario and see how can we fund these roads effectively. And we're always trying to look for ways to partner and work with MAG and other entities, but at the end of the day, we have to make sure we're capturing cost accurately so we can have an accurate transportation impact fee. So that's kind of the overall effects of the update, what we were going through, trying to be consistent, to get things up to date as best as we could as a snapshot. You know, this is like trying to hit a moving target. It's always updating every day. There's always something new going on. But at one point, we have to just say, this is it. We have to present you our plan in its current form to hopefully get it approved, and then, keep working on things in the future.
David, just for clarification for me, you said that we needed to add East 1000 North?
Yeah, so.
It's in the recommendation. Okay,
Yep,
that's
so
what I wanted to see.
on the recommendation here, so staff recommends city council, adopt this with this caveat, adding this line. There's some major development going down south, kind of next to the Meta. And this road right here, it's not really a prescriptive road. It's just used as a utility access road, kind of under the power corridor. But we would love to see that as the collector, kind of connecting Pony Express and our East Expressway.
Agreed. And then I have two more questions, Mayor, if I may. As far as the road sections that are contained in the TMP, what I'm really wondering is, do we need to update those? Should we choose to adopt this, do we need to update those in our other section of code? I believe we probably will want to, so they match. We have road classifications as part of, I don't know if it's 16 or 17, it's in one of those code sections. I'll speak into the mic, I know nobody can hear me. I'm getting some shakes from the back. I'm just wondering if we need to bring back a different section of code that identifies the road sections. We're gonna need to update that if we go with this, right?
Well, so we're not changing any widths, we're just removing the medians. So I don't know if that's gonna affect code, because we're not changing the described.
Yeah, but they're contained in the code section that talks about
They're in
road
the code section? Okay.
classification, so I just think we're gonna want them to match.
I'll work with David to bring it back.
We will do that then.
And then, let's see, and did we contact or have any interaction with the Wildlife Alliance? Did they get a chance to review the conflict map that's the last page in this TMP?
We didn't update that at all from this latest go around, so.
So it didn't change at all?
Didn't change at all.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yep.
One question from me with the Lake Mountain Corridor. In our combined meeting that we had, they mentioned that UDOT would not be building the road. Do you want to just talk to that point? Made it feel like that they're going to take it over after we build it, kind of a scenario?
So I don't have a great answer for that. I mean, because I've heard conflicting information on that, to be perfectly honest. I've heard they are, and I've read the code myself, and that is exactly how it's written. But I think there's other things at play on how that's going to go. I think this kind of road adoption is unique. I don't think it's ever been written in this way before. So I suspect this is kind of the first step to them fully taking it over. But again, I don't have the specifics on that. I know it's something we're working with our lobbyist as well, and Stephanie and some of the other folks.
To get some clarification so that language is clear.
So,
Okay.
just a little insight, that was one of the things that I did in Salt Lake a couple weeks ago, is talk with Mike Schultz. And I think I was working with Stephanie on this as well. It's more about getting it on the funding, which is a long ways away. And once it's funded, even if we build it, then they pay for it. I think it's more as whether or not it's an internal project for them to build themselves or subcontracted. And I think if we pre-build it, if they fund it to a 2032, 2033 type programming, then we'd likely move that forward by funding it or building it with a subcontractor and then getting reimbursed just like we do with MAG. So something of that nature is what we're working on, or at least proposing. So I think it's a combination of both, right?
Yeah.
So any other questions? Go ahead.
Great presentation. Yeah, thank you, David. That's really helpful. It's a long document, 222 pages, so if you can shorten that up a few, that would be helpful.
Gladly.
So this is just more of a question on the flexibility as we kind of move forward, and really Ranches Parkway sticks out in my mind because I was at that same meeting, and I agree it probably needs to be widened out, 3 lanes on both sides. Is there any flexibility in design where you have the ability to do U-turns, you can narrow the median? I think the medians right now they're built up way too high, they're way too wide, they don't get water, they look terrible. I don't know how many trees we have in there. We could probably relocate or rehome a bunch of those trees, but I'm curious if there's any flexibility in design with what we're voting on tonight to retain some median, to retain the character when you enter our city versus turning into the city past the Maverick and just seeing, a big open asphalt field, because it's a pretty straight shot. So my question to you is there flexibility in the design, or are we adopting this kind of as is?
So we could look at that. Staff is recommending to get away with the medians from a few reasons. We talked about the U-turns and things like that, but there's also other concerns I didn't bring up, like water intrusion. When you have these medians, you're watering that area, the subgrade becomes soft. Ranches and Pony have had more maintenance than a typical road section because that water percolates through and it affects the subgrade to the adjacent roadway. And so it affects the crown of your road. There's other factors as well, versus kind of capping off and having a proper crown profile of the road, if you will. And so I think the consensus has been just to get away from that. The maintenance has been a huge issue. There have been accidents of workers being hit, residents being hit as well from this. And so I feel like we've outgrown that as a city. I know I haven't been here, my tenure hasn't been that long, but with the volume of traffic we have, I just think I wish we could keep them, but I don't think it services the city. And that's why we're trying to look to beautify the landscapes and do other things. We have 40 to 60 feet of landscape in Ranches Parkway. And so there's a lot of things to work with. And I'm working with our arborists to see how we can really spruce that, kind of bang that entrance up really well as you come down.
Yeah, when you turn into UVU, I'll use that as an example, coming off the freeway. There's a nice median. It just I think medians make it interesting. If you know what I mean? When you're driving down a road, it breaks up just the monotony of just a flat asphalt surface. So that's just one thing to consider. And I'm not saying that we need to have grass. That's probably terrible to have out there. The way that we're watering the asphalt doesn't make any sense. But some basic drip lines for trees.
I think
for me as a resident, there's character in that part of our city, and it makes me kind of sad just to see that completely go away.
Isn't the high T, you're talking about just a barrier at all? Like
high T, I'm good. I'm like 80% of the way there on that specific road. High T's, I'm good. Intersections, all of that probably needs to happen, even the widening of the lanes.
Well, I'm saying the high T is there's a median, like you wouldn't be able to go across campus in the Maverick. There is a barrier. It's not a landscape.
Right, but the high T, it's got to go on both ends completely. I'm talking about where there's stretches of long span of road, just having something where you're not turning. It's just a span of road, keeping something in there to keep the road kind of interesting.
In other words, because there's some longer stretches where someone might not need the middle lane to do something.
Yeah.
Can you keep some kind of decorative feature?
Some trees, shrubs, with some rocks in there, some desert, I don't know. Just, it's a question, if we could retool that or redesign that a little bit.
Turn your mic on, Dave.
Thanks, guys. Even if we're not watering it, like someone still has to go in and maintain that and clean that. I mean, so there is a safety component of that, especially if we're adding more lanes and more traffic. So I know if Zach were here, I know he'd be pulling on his beard right now as well.
I get it. I totally get it. I'm here to represent the residents that live in that area. And I think it's worth at least considering the design and retaining some features in the middle there.
So I'm going to throw out a quick question just to be sure before we spend time maybe doing that. Does the council agree with that? I'm not sure that there's
I'll probably tell you, Mayor, that I'm not favorable to that. I mean, look, I understand the sentiment, Councilmember Hewish. For you, it's about the aesthetics and the way it feels. And I know Councilmember Wood has spoken about how that felt to him when he first came into the city. So I think that there's a real impact there. But as I look at that and try to balance the maintenance aspect of it, the safety aspect of it for our employees who have to take care of it, the water in there and the additional road damage, I think that the suggestion, and this is at least what I think David was alluding to, is improving those sidescapes is what I'm going to call them, so the edges of the road, so that they take on that type of character. I think that's a good compromise. But if we're going to remove the medians, we're going to remove the medians. And every place that they've come out, they've come out. And while I've been here, we've made some improvements, and it is, for me, it's too little too late. It's like when we did the left turn pocket on Pony Express Parkway where you turn left onto ranches. We extended that 100 feet, and it was worthless because by the time that it was done, it was still backing up into the travel lane. I just think that we have a volume of traffic that we have to get in and out of the city, and that's a major thoroughfare for our city. And I know some of the residents there said, well, tell everybody in City Center to take Airport Road. We don't want them coming down ranches. Well, I don't adopt that philosophy. I think the citizens in the City Center ought to have the choice of where they want to exit the city, including Lake Mountain Corridor. So for me, I think we're holding on to something that belongs in a smaller road network.
So I'm going to hit somewhere in the middle on this one. I agree with what you're saying, Brett. I think that that road needs to be without any barriers in the middle of it. I think we've seen enough accidents. It is a absolute blind spot coming out of any of those roads. However, I don't think we should go small when we do the landscaping on the side. We're well known for that entrance into the city, and it should still present itself the same way when we do the sidescapes on the side. It should be incredibly beautiful the way that it is right now, in a way that can be presented on the side. So when we're looking at that, let's put our best foot forward and make that area just as striking as it has always been for our city.
It ought to look like a golf course, Councilmember Wood, and sincerely, and it ought to have the impact of protecting those residents from that major roadway, from some of the noise, the lights, and some of those other impacts. I think that's where we can make a difference for the residents.
And can I show a quick example? So this is Stonebridge. And so this is one great example because we have these great, trees here in the middle, and then we have this barren patch over here. And so we're looking at bringing in trees, landscaping this up, making it look really good. So we're kind of moving the green over. And any trees we can't relocate, we're going to reuse as mulch, so nothing's getting thrown away. Everything's going to be repurposed throughout the city. We're going to try and relocate things, but it doesn't always work. So
I think I get the vision. Our track record when I drive through City Center and I look at our sidescapes, or even on Ranches Parkway now, it just doesn't look good. And I think if we're going to pull that median out, it's got to look awesome. And I'm just going to give you that commission to really impress, to blow us away with the landscaping. I don't know whose job that is, but our track record throughout the city has not been great.
As we mentioned previously, I mean, the ranches and the pony corridor, it's been an interesting one because a lot of the side streets, just like we've talked about in the city center, we've had a lot of fiber companies come through and they wreck irrigation systems. And I think our park staff has made a significant push in trying to get those irrigation systems operating again. And I feel like there's a little bit of an improvement. I think when we take these medians out, we just need to plant some more trees and shrubberies on the side of the road where it's feasible, because there's still going to be some narrow pockets that won't fit trees either. So we just need to lay it out in a way. But we're hoping that we're getting towards the end of these fiber companies destroying stuff when they come through multiple times every year, and it makes it hard to maintain. And I couldn't agree more with the medians. They need to come out. I think about Pioneer Crossing, and they put the medians in there, and how long did that last? And I just feel like if we just do a scale back, we're not gonna meet the mark. I think we need to meet the mark with it, and let's attempt to do the sides and get it up to par so that it has that look and that feel that you're requesting.
So I think I just want to maybe stamp this one. Let's design it. Let's not dig holes and put trees in. Like, this needs to have an actual design, a landscaping design to be brought to us to match what the citizens have become to expect in that area. And then let's set that as the standard of how we're going to go down our corridors, so that it's not one area that's getting this, that this is something we're working for over the next 5 and 10 years, so that our corridors are something that is reflective of how we feel about our city.
Yeah, I was actually going to exactly recommend that thing. Get a landscape architect and let's do it right. And design that, and then we can see what Pony could look like as well. And we got to put the funds into these areas. We just have to. And I think if we can show the residents that live in that area, hey, this is what it will become, they may say, hey, we love this. It's going to be safer, it's going to be better, but it's also going to look more beautiful for them, because that foliage is going to go up right along where their homes are. I love that idea, but I think we got to put the money into it and actually make it real. It's the entrance, one of the entrances of the city, and it's the first impression, so we got to make it great.
Yeah, 100%. We absolutely plan on doing that. And on Pony Express, what we're looking to do is later this year or even next fiscal year, we're looking to do a study on Pony Express to see what that looks like, what it looks like removing the medians, the landscape component, and something that was brought up in the last council or 2 councils ago was the monuments. Ranches and Pony Express have a lot of monuments, and that's been a big character of our city, and we don't want to get rid of that. And when we widen, they're going to have to go where they are for the turn movements and the width. And so part of this project and the study on Pony Express is to look at where's the best place we can put these new monuments in, so we can maintain that feel for the city, but still have our turning movements and our travel lanes.
Is the design, what we're talking about, built into that 11.4 million?
Yes.
With MAG?
Yep, so it's 11.8.
Golf course level design?
Yep.
Okay, David.
It's a full design. It's a lot of contingency, because we know MAG loves contingency. It's also money for construction and management. We handle management ourselves throughout construction. This is a big enough project, we're going to hire out someone to help us with construction, inspection, management, because it's a big project. And we'll have other things going on as well. So all those have been budgeted.
I think it's important to mention, I know there's a lot of attention on the city council right now because we're looking at different funding options for us as a city. And I think if somebody were to tune in, they'd be like, they want to spend their money on a golf course, landscaping, and all of those things. And I think it's important to help people understand that, one, this will be money that we get from the state through MAG. So it's not like we're wasting taxpayer dollars by doing something. And 2, this has a big impact on property values and different things like that. And ultimately, we won't do it if we don't have the funds to back it up. And I think normally we wouldn't have to stop and say that, but I want residents to understand that we're not just like on a spending spree, that this is a part of a long process of finding the funding to go toward it. So that's it.
So just ask clarifying questions again. So phase 1 of Ranches Parkway would begin when approximately? And phase 1 does not include widening, right? So there's nothing happening on the widening just yet on phase 1.
Correct. So for phase 1, The project, if everything goes smoothly, next week, next Thursday, we'll be awarded this project. Funding will be secured with the MPO meeting. Then we would then work with, we have budgeted for fiscal year 27 to kind of cash flow this project because we know the road's already going to fail. The intersection's already failing down at the south ends. And what we've done with a lot of MAG projects is the city has cash funded parts of it and then entered into interlocal for reimbursement. So we can get these projects done sooner than later than waiting until 2030. And so this is something, once next week it gets approved, I'm going to be then drafting an interlocal with Utah County and UDOT to get this funding in place so we can begin design hopefully in the next month or two. So,
David, and just to clarify, this, when we typically, like Airport Road, for instance, MAG funded that, we built it, and still waiting on some reimbursement. This phase one, we do these improvements right away, even though the funding, is it 2029?
It's 29 through 30, yes.
30, but yeah, we start this project right away.
And the great thing is, because the city uses this approach, we actually save money on this. When we did Airport Road, I forget the dollar on Airport Road, but when we did the roundabout removal at Eagle Mountain Boulevard and Pony Express, that was a $3.6 million project. It was MAG funded, and we saved, I think it was $800,000 we left over, and they're allowing us to use that to continue some of the widening further south, because we cash funded that. Because from this diagram here, the project was estimated at 11.8 current dollars, and they budget for 2030 funds, which is 13.8 million. So if we can do it early, it's kudos to us. Like us, Saratoga and Lehigh are some of the few cities that cash flow and do these early. Most other cities, they're late. They come back asking for extra money. So like we're ahead of the game, and we're going to. That's the way we can save our residents money and use those funds to better purpose.
So we've spent a lot of time on specifically ranches, but it's the entire TMP that we're looking at here. I just wanted to make sure that, especially Councilmember Hewish is comfortable with, at least I heard two opinions on that removal of the roundabout, or medians. Are you comfortable if we move on with that without?
Yeah, we can move forward.
Okay, I know you wanted to go with some design elements, and I didn't want to direct staff to do that if there wasn't an appetite, so. So I'm talking about the median specifically.
Isn't that part of the TMP?
No, so Councilmember Hewish was saying he wanted to leave some of the median, and Councilmember Wright said he wanted to take them out. So I'm saying it's 1-1 right now. I don't know.
I think we're going to take them out, but then we're going to then we're going to make a motion at some point, like later in the meeting, that we'll hire a landscape architect, or we'll do a corridor landscape plan. So
and that's already in that's already in the funding.
So I don't think we need to make a motion because that's in the budget. When we put together that proposal for MAG, we have all that in the estimate.
We're going to want to review that plan too, right? Like where you can say, hey, look, here's what the landscaping is going to look like.
Absolutely.
I think we'd want to see that before you move forward.
And we will absolutely bring that to you guys. Absolutely. I mean, that design will take months. It's not a quick process.
And if there's opportunity to relocate those trees, I'm not a tree hugger, but there's a lot of trees in there. So we got to relocate them somewhere if that's possible.
Yep, and we always try to. It's not always feasible when they come out. If not, we reuse all the trees, we mulch it, and we use it throughout the city, so nothing gets wasted or thrown away.
Okay, so was there any other questions on the TMP as a whole, aside from ranches? Go ahead.
Yeah, I had a question. So the last page as well, page 222. So you said that one was not updated. There are some roads in there that are not reflected in some of the other pages. So do we need to worry about that? For instance, I'm looking at one in specific, and that is it's showing a road connecting to Canyon Wash, which we had turned to the west to connect Airport Road. So page 222, the last page. So that's using a map that has, so Canyon Wash is showing a road connect to it.
That was just an old background that I guess got turned on. So if you want to make your motion, we can make sure to delete that connection. Thank you for catching that. Yeah, there's no plans to make that connection. That was deleted off a year ago. Yeah, because we caught it on all the other maps, but on the wildlife one, I guess it's still showing. So thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, if there's no other question right now, this is a public hearing. We good to move forward? Yeah. All right, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 8:35. And I think there's people to speak on this one. They listened to a lot of discussion there, so go ahead.
Quinn Lindy.
We're glad your school's still standing and not burned down.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mayor and council, my name is Quinn Lindy. I am the new principal of the new high school that is opening in Saratoga Springs. First and foremost, what you should know, Mayor, is I've done my fair share of Big Mac challenges, hot wing challenges, Chick-fil-A. I had 40 chicken nuggets in 3 minutes. You always say no when the students ask you to do stupid things like that. So just on the record, say no next time. You'll be better off for it. I prepared something more formal, and I don't know if 3 minutes is going to be enough time. And so I'm going to keep my comments short. Most importantly, this road that we talked about in our TMP plan to connect Golden Eagle down through the new high school into Saratoga Springs. This road will provide important traffic support and additional access for high school students. As enrollment continues to increase, having multiple routes into and out of our new high school and our community will become increasingly important. A direct connection here will provide our families and students with more options for reaching school and other community destinations. It will help distribute traffic rather than concentrating it on a limited number of existing roads. Why I say this is I have opened a new school. I have rebuilt a school for 2,800 students at Hillcrest High School, and I've currently, when I left my last job, building a $65 million extension onto Murray High School. I have been in my fair share of high schools. I will submit to the record a data analysis that I put together of the last 20 high schools that were built in the state of Utah. Westlake and Cedar Valley are also on that list. I won't go through that entire thing here, but I will refer you to that record and where we currently fall in Alpine School District with the number of access points into high school. Quite frankly, not very good. In fact, we are in the just above average. Schools down in St. George, schools in Nebo School District are much, much better, meaning on average we are sending about 900 students per access point compared to our counterparts across the state. If you don't believe me on this, go read the recent news articles about the $225 million building they built at Cypress High School. And the first issue in the first news article that came out was parents waiting an hour to drop their kids off at school due to the lack of access points into the community. When communities are physically connected, it becomes easier for people to interact, participate, and build relationships. I want to be very clear.
30 seconds remaining.
I want to be very clear. This is not an Eagle Mountain High School. It will not be a Saratoga Springs High School. I live in Eagle Mountain, and I have since 2013. I am an Eagle Mountainer. This school will represent both of our communities, and I want you to know that I put my full support behind our TMP plan to build and connect our roads, because at one day, our marching band and our programs will march through Silver Lake, and they'll march through Evans Ranch and any other area our district sees fit in that boundary study. I also want you to know that I will advocate with the new school district
Your time is up.
to
Thank
include those parts of Eagle Mountain in our new boundary study that will begin in September.
Thank you. So any of those other documents, if you want to send your full comment, just email it to Lacey to recorder@eaglemountain.gov, and we can attach them to the record. And the council could get them there.
Can I do this to you now?
Next comment.
Melissa Powers.
Good evening, Mayor Gray and members of the City Council. My name is Melissa Powers. I live in Evans Ranch neighborhood, which butts up right against Silver Lake, so we're all just kind of one big area. First, I wanted to thank you guys for your time tonight and for all the work you put into this process. I know it's been a long road for all of you, and I appreciate the time and thought that's gone into it. Many of you have seen me up here already, so I wanted to talk about the Silver Lake Parkway connection. I wanted to come one last time before tonight's vote because I wanted to make sure you heard from those of us who support the Transportation Master Plan, and especially the Silver Lake Parkway connection. The plan before the council is about preparing Eagle Mountain's transportation network for future growth. I've had countless conversations with the residents through Evans Ranch and Silver Lake and the surrounding communities since all of this started. And I can confidently tell you there's tremendous amount of support for this plan. To me, it's become so much more than just the Silver Lake Parkway connection. It's about improving Woodhaven, it's about improving Golden Eagle, and most importantly, it's about connecting our neighborhoods to the new high school, which is really important to us residents right there in that area. I truly believe that these improvements will help connect our community and give better opportunities to the students and families that are living there. And I just wanted to know that we are behind that plan. Thank you for your time.
Ben Perez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just wanted to keep my comments brief about the same support for this master plan change. I wanted to just share really briefly, my son attended the ALL program at Silver Lake Elementary last year, and one thing that he was adamant about was that he did not want us to pick him up in front of the school. He wanted us to park right down the street, and he wanted to cross on his own and get in the car. He didn't want to cross with all the other kids crossing across Silver Lake Parkway. He wanted to come down around the roundabout and get in the car. We had to park on that side. And we trusted him at first. We were like, let's try this. And we stayed there for the duration, but I watched countless kids go through that roundabout and nearly get hit because it's a roundabout, right? There's nothing stopping unless you're on the south side of that roundabout to let kids cross. So seeing that there's a possibility of that traffic light getting put in there really makes me happy, just because kids' safety is massive. Sure, it will connect to the high school and will open up the opportunity there for our neighborhood, but for kids to have another possibility, because I can't tell you how many of those kids after school are walking by themselves home. They need some kind of traffic control to stop those cars and let them cross. So I'm already excited about what's been happening on Golden Eagle Road with some of the lines that have been painted. I spoke to David earlier tonight, so I see some positive changes, but I just want to call it out that at the end of the day, while we all want more connections and it feels like we're all a day late and a dollar short trying to get more ways to get through the city, this really matters most because of the kids. The kids that their parents aren't home yet and they got to walk home alone. We got to make sure they get home safely, and this just feels like a really positive direction. So thank you.
Okay, that's all that we have turned in. Is there anyone else here that came to speak on this item? Seeing no one. It is 8:43, and we'll close the public hearing. Bring it back to council for any further discussion or a motion.
Can I ask one more question on David? Sorry, I was going to ask you this earlier and I got sidetracked. On Airport Road, will that be a principal arterial street? Is that the plan? I think my understanding was that would always be
That's
like
correct.
a 4-lane.
Yep, that'll be a principal arterial 176.
And is that a change from the prior plan?
Nope. Nope, the naming has changed. It was always a 176. It was just confusing on what the name was, and so we just wanted to rename it so it was clear what it was.
Mayor, I would just want to ask the principal of the new high school just to do me a favor and just share that data with ASD and share it with our Lake Mountain School District representative is here. I think it's really important because we press from this side of the dais with the school district, but the reality of it is we have little ability to impact how many connections they make into their school sites. The state law doesn't allow us to do that. So the fact that we're deficient really rests with our school districts and with the state legislature. And we've counseled with our state counterparts and encouraged them to bring forward some code changes that would allow cities to help regulate that. So anything you can do to help us there, we'll be fighting on the same team. So that's a plea that I'm going to make with you. That's an interesting statistic, and I look forward to seeing it 900 cars per connection. And perhaps we can challenge our Lake Mountain School District representative to take that back and counsel together with her counterparts and see if we can't set a standard that's better than that. That's the first thing. And beyond that, I'm good to go when the council and if the council's ready to go.
I want to add on to that. Melissa's not going to hear anything different than what she's heard me say before, but I'm going to remind all of the Lake Mountain board members, one of the things that you all promised is better collaboration with the city councils before you buy the land. And I think that I want to re-highlight that because it is so important to sit down and work out these details before you've spent the money. We had no say whatsoever in that purchase of that high school. It was in the wrong place for every reason. And now all of us are scrambling trying to create safe routes for walking, safe routes for driving. That's not the way to do things, and we've made that mistake over and over and over in this area. We need your support from a staff member. We need, Melissa, if you want, excuse me, Mrs. Powers, what was your first name? It is Melissa Powers. We need our residents to put that kind of pressure back on the school district to remind them the importance of that collaboration, so we're not putting schools in places that it's impossible to create safe routes. It's very difficult after the fact to try to come and mitigate things, especially when we have David in here showing us that we're going to do these large corridors to be able to move traffic through, and then the school district comes and puts a school there. And now we have to make a decision. Which one's more important? Safe routes or traffic? And I would just encourage that to be at the very forefront of those decisions as you guys are making those, to remember we need to sit and talk before we spend money. Thanks.
No other comment? I think Councilmember Wright's ready to make a motion. Okay.
So quick comment to Councilmember Wood's comment. I spoke with Julie King last Thursday, and we're actually in the process of getting a regular recurring meeting scheduled, so I can kind of get ahead of these things, understand where are these schools coming, what can we do, as we're working with the planning as well. Let's get ahead of this. So we're 100% on board with that.
All right, Mayor, if you'll entertain a motion. Let me get, now I'm stuck in the wrong spot. Let me go back a page.
Left a recommendation up for you. And also just to remember.
Go ahead.
Just remember page 222,
Yeah, I've got that. So my motion is this, if I can.
We put it on there. Candy wash.
Okay. Well, then this is easy then. I move to the Eagle Mountain City Council. Excuse me. Cal, I'm still lost.
I'll do it. You do it?
No, I want to do it. Where am I?
16B.
No. Here we go. I'm there. Took me a minute, but I'm old and I'm slow, but I'll get there. I move that the Eagle Mountain City Council adopt an ordinance amending the Master Transportation Plan, known as the Transportation Master Plan, TMP, and Impact Fees Facility Plan, with staff recommendations that are on the screen currently.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Wright and a second by Councilmember Wood. Is there any questions on the motion? Clear? And we'll start a vote with Councilmember Hewish.
Yes.
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
Councilmember Wood.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. All right. We went through the legislative priority list earlier. I think John went home, so is there any other things that you guys need to bring up on that?
So you're suggesting we do not need to make a specific motion regarding the design, the landscape architect, corridor landscape plan?
Or we can require them to bring it back to us.
Yeah, it's gonna come back when they build it.
Okay, should we make a motion to require them to bring that back?
I think the direction's clear that they'll bring it back, so.
Okay, if they don't, Jared, Mayor Gray, we got this recorded.
Yeah, that's right. If they don't, they did it without telling me, but it'll come back. So we'll dang sure have that back as we design that. And that's probably at least a couple years out, right? Because we're talking about phase, that's phase, not phase one, that's at least phase two. So then if there's no other priorities on that, we can move to item 18 as far as the liaison and councilmember reports.
I just want to remind everyone that UTA, even though they're not giving us our bus route, is going to be doing on demand for our community. And they're having an open house tomorrow night at 3688 Campus Drive. And UTA representatives, Utah County Commissioner Skylar Beltran will be there. And what's cool about it is you can order basically like an Uber or a Lyft, but it's through UTA. And the price for it is $2.50. And I can imagine a lot of kids who have to get to MTech or from one high school to the next using this. So please encourage people in your life that could benefit from this to come, or just come so that you can share information with other people, because we want this to be wildly successful so I can say to UTA, I told you so, and then get us more routes. So thank you.
Okay, I know there's no reports from Councilmember Wright. Did you have the youth council? We saw them all tonight. Is there anything else?
Parties tomorrow.
Right on, yeah, that's right. 2 o'clock tomorrow at the Corey Ride, right? And anything there?
I do.
On what?
Liaison reports?
Oh, just the Community Services Board?
Any of them? Yeah.
We met, had a great meeting. We're working on becoming a, was it healthy city in Utah? So we're excited to kind of push that across the goal line and prioritizing some RAP tax projects.
Perfect. And we heard a lot about MAG tonight. Any reports that I'd have, I think you guys have heard. Also, I went to the UFA board meeting last week. Everything's moving forward there, just like we've talked. So I don't have any updates as well.
Mayor, can I just ask that when you go and the vote is taken on Thursday at MAG, would you just let us know when that's, I'm sure you will, but if you just send us a text or something, it'd be nice to know that that passed and that funding will become available for us.
Yeah, my hopes is, as you know, you've advocated for us too, is to move some of the other projects up, but so far it's my
I wish you well.
yeah. I thought I was going to get it done, and I'm less optimistic as I used to be, I'll say that, but we're still pushing, man. We're leaning on them to get that northern connection as well, so I don't know, David has too, and part of that was what you mentioned earlier, the reprioritizing some of that funding and the contingencies, so I'll let you know the update. You'll be the first to know. With that, I know we do have a few things to go back into closed session. In the meantime, we have to come back out here to adjourn later, right? So we'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move that the Eagle Mountain City Council move into a closed session pursuant to section 52-4-2051 of the Utah Code annotated.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Wood and a second by Councilmember Whiting. Councilmember Clark?
Yes.
Councilmember Wright?
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
Councilmember Wood?
Yes.
Councilmember Bush?
Yes.
Thank you. It is 9:41 p.m. We're back into our regular session, and there's a few more things that I'm sure everybody wants to go over. And the first one is
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
motion to adjourn by Councilmember Wood, a second by Councilmember Wright. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. We are adjourned at 9:41.